Hi, welcome to my channel, and literally welcome because it's my first video ever that I'm putting on YouTube. So I am incredibly excited, a little bit nervous, but I think that is what makes life so much fun, is the times where you can be like, I'm a little scared. So I am a little scared, but I'm gonna do it anyways because I have been watching videos about people who have been starting over in their 30s. And I always, as a 29-year-old, was like, man, that's crazy, but that won't happen to me. I can't imagine that my life would change that drastically. Psych. Saturn return got me. If you don't know what a Saturn return is, it is a really interesting thing to look up. It's something that happens in between your 27th birthday and around like your 31st, I think. But during that time period, you go through like these massive shifts in your identity and who you are, and really reclaiming back of your existence. So that was mine that I would love to talk to y'all about, because these last 3 months actually shifted the entire course of my life, and I want to talk to y'all about it. So one of the things that really stood out for me is that 3 months ago, I was living a fairly content life. I had an amazing partner, very supportive emotionally and mentally, but I was growing a really big sense of codependence and vice versa, and we couldn't really get to a space where we were taking care of ourselves in our own wildest dreams. And I have been, for a couple of years, really trying to figure out, how do I create my most wildest dreams? How do I, manifest this life that I've always been dreaming of since I was a kid? Off and on, of course, because that's what we do as humans. We push things to the background, and we're just like, that's fine, but maybe that's not for me, or that life is great, but it's not my life. And so there was one week in particular where I got ridiculously constipated. Welcome to my channel. I don't hide, because you know what? I'm a human with a human body. So I got super constipated, right? I went to the doctor. I went to a nurse practitioner, because nurse practitioners, where y'all at? I love y'all, okay? I genuinely do. I go to see a doctor, and it's great. It's fine sometimes. It's very mild experience. I go to see a nurse practitioner, and they're like, how you doing? What's going on? How holistically can I help you? And I'm like, yes. So I go to this one NP, and she looks at me and she says, well, are you happy? I mean, I could be happier. She says, well, everybody could be happier, but are you happy? And I was like, no. And she said, okay, tell me what's been going on in your life. And so I tell her, and I let her know that 9 months ago, I was fired from a job that had me essentially be put in a position where I was explaining that I was not comfortable with the lack of diversity on the art prints and the, what would you even call it? The fascination of skinniness, and really speaking up for that. And so I was kind of put into a situation where I was fired. I will happily do another video on that at a different time, but essentially that was a big portion of the reason of why I was fired. And it made me lose a lot of hope, and made me be like, what am I actually doing here? And how did I get myself into a situation where someone was willing to put me out of work because of my ideals? And how did I align with a place that didn't support diversity? How did I get there? You know what I mean? And so it really made me think and assess my life, and it made me feel really uncomfortable. And so I was dealing with that aftermath, and she looked at me and she gave me a high five, one of those good, sturdy high five hand hugs, and was like, "Good job. I'm so proud of you." And for someone to say that, who was a fair stranger, really shook me to my core and gave me the validation I needed to be like, yes, I have been healing. And so the appointment goes on, and she's like, okay, well, here's what you can get at the store. You should be okay. Here's some great signs. Here's what you should be looking out for. And I was so appreciative of her time and of her genuine connection with me, which is, again, proves that no matter what role you play in life, you can help someone feel so fucking good. And all you have to do is say a few words of encouragement or support or validation to let them know you did it. You are a superhero in that fact. And so, so I went home and I assessed my life, and I realized how much time and effort I was putting into my relationship, how much time and effort I was ignoring all of the things I wanted to do because I always just wanted to be around this person. And on top of that, I really started asking myself, what kind of job do I want? What kind of life would I wake up and be excited for? And so I started journaling, I started singing, I started expressing what I needed. And eventually that led to my partner and I of 5 years breaking up, and me moving into my own studio apartment, which we are in now. And during all of this, my best friend was also planning on moving away. So, and if you know anything about me, I'm the kind of friend who's like, hey, I have an errand to run. Do you want to come? Hey, I have this project around the house. Do you want to come over and do it with me? And so to not have the two main people in my life that I've been doing that with for the past 5 years was ridiculous. Hated it. Proud of where I've come from. Wouldn't want to do it again. But grateful that I made it. And so that was a lot of shifting and a lot of not knowing what was going to be coming next. And all of this, mind you, with being on a very small salary, because I was only working part-time from the job that I was fired from. So I was only getting around $840 every 2 weeks. And so I was like, I don't know, what am I doing? I'm literally going from a 2-person income household to a 1-person income household with a dog and a fish. What am I doing? And my dog is a little bit older, and she's been having some health problems every now and then, and she's ready to see the world, and I want to help her see the world. And I was like, I don't know how I'm gonna do all of this, but I released the need to figure it out over a course of dreams that I was having, over courses of tarot card readings I was listening to, lots of walking that I was doing. I was just really trying to take in content that made me feel good about myself, but also helped me remember that even if I was receiving messages that hey, it's gonna be hard, I needed to be able to know that so that I could move on to this next thing and be prepared. And during that, trying to continue making connections with new friends and neighbors and things like that, and really trying to maintain old friendships that I've had. And through that process, I have been able to get here while I'm sitting in front of you and recording my life. What's been happening? Crazy. So last week, I admitted to myself that I don't know what I'm doing. And I've heard that no one really knows what we're doing, but I really, really admitted it to myself. And I was like, I'm taking a lot of leaps of faith. I even had a super part-time job, super part-time, very part-time. Did I mention that? Like 3-4 hours a week, maybe that, at this amazing witchy dance studio in Austin. And I was starting to feel some bodily anxiety whenever I would have to go in and do the duties that were asked. And it's crazy because I've always done things like that, like front desk work. I've always reception, administrative work. I'm the one. I'm the one. I'm the one you're looking for. So I was getting really confused on why I was like, why do I not want to go and set up a space for the classes? What is happening in my body? And eventually I just realized I don't need to have a reason. It doesn't have to make sense. It just has to feel good. And if it's not feeling good, I need to figure out what's going on. And so I let them know I was going to be resigning from that role. And it was so scary. It was so scary because I was like, that is these one sliver of not only income, but of community, that a set community that I had. All of these other people, my old friends, they live all in California. My new friends were all just like spurting, like little seedlings of hope. But I wasn't having a lot of consistency with that yet. And that community of people that I was dancing with, that was my therapy. And so I was like, what am I doing? Why am I doing this? Why am I giving this up? And again, I just had to tell myself, it doesn't matter if it logistically makes sense. It just has to feel right. And so I let them know I would like to resign from this role. They pivoted with me and they said, how can we help you stay in a role that you feel better in? And I said, okay, because I released it. I let it go. I took the leaps of faith that I needed to. My North Node is also in Scorpio. So leaps of faith are the things that I have to do in order to get to my next highest level of me being on this earth, this soul, this universe. So it worked for me. I'm not saying you have to do it this way, but hopefully something in here will give you some excitement, right? Who the fuck knows? Who the fuck knows? I'm just here to create. I'm just here to tell my story. And I like it that way. So that was my huge leap of faith. And that one almost instantly came back to me and said, how can we help you? And so now I'm thinking of doing things like substituting in dance classes, which I've been wanting to do for such a long time. And also, doing my side business, but doing it with them as a home healer. And so I'm so excited to think of these opportunities. And I said, give me the month. Let me think about it. Let me figure out how I can create something that really aligns with both of us. And so that was the part where I was like, what am I going to do for the month? We just went through the worst election of of my very, late millennial life. What am I going to do if I don't have this community? Yada, yada, yada. And so I just had to be like, okay, this is how we do something new. And I went on Yelp and I was like, all right, let's figure out some classes that we could take in other places so we can start to get prepared for this next step. And I think that's a big part of all of this, is getting prepared for the next thing, even when the next thing isn't here yet. Which brings me to these things. Man, if that was loud, I'm not sorry, I'm so excited. So another part of last week that I admitted to was that life will always have ups and downs. However, what up am I trying to get to? What up am I striving for? What up do I want to see in my life so that I can actually be more okay with when the downs do come? What is it? Where is it? What can I do? And so I've always wanted since I was little, I remember little Joe being on the bus and listening to this violin music that was playing on the bus. It was one of those really awesome bus drivers who like played like cool classical music on the bus. And I was like, this is it. And I remember like faux playing the violin because I've always seen people do violin, and I was like, that's really cool. I'm interested in that. And I was faux playing the violin, and I looked to my friend. I said, yeah, I want to play violin one day. Maybe I'll take some lessons soon. I was in third grade. And my friend looks over and she says, oh, violin's hard. And then goes back to their merry business. And I was like, oh, violin is hard. That won't work for me. And so me as a third grader said, no, we're just gonna put that down for now. We're gonna put that dream away because it's hard and you don't learn very easily. And at this time, I was not doing very good in school. Once we got out of basic math, I started to have incidences in school where the older boys were hitting on me as a second grader. And it really, really fucked up my development because I was getting out of school and going the bus home, and these boys were just really, really adamant about, saying like, oh, we should date and we should do this and that. And everything that I had retained from school that day almost like went into a fucking washing machine because I was so uncomfortable. And so I couldn't download and process all the information. And I really feel like I skipped out a lot on retaining the information because I was doing really good in school up until middle of second grade. And do I know why these fifth and sixth graders were hitting on me as a second grader? No. Does it tell us something is deeply disturbed in our society that we have to stop ignoring? Yes. So I'm telling you this part of my story because things do have to change. They're looking up to the older men in their families. So yeah, we have to talk about our experiences. So anyways, once I was in third grade and I had switched schools, I was really kind of disconnected from the school, from the schooling, from the teaching. And, people don't talk about this. When you skip schools or you transfer to a different school, there's a very good chance that they're on a different level. And that's another thing of kind of what happened. And so I was already telling myself, because I was starting to get bad grades in third grade, and I was like, well, shit, if I can't get this thing down that I was able to do last year, how the fuck am I gonna learn violin? And it really bled into my self-confidence. So I think I took up soccer instead. I was like, oh, my body can move. And those guys complimented my body because I was an early developer. So those guys compliment my body, so maybe I can do something with my body. I fucking hated soccer. I loved the vibe. I was there for the vibe, for the people, for the hangouts, for the pizza party every now and then if we did good. That's what I was there for. I wasn't there to kick the ball. But anyways, so I have decided to start preparing myself now as a 30-year-old to play the violin. So I have been doing a little rowing machine at the gym so I can work on my stamina. And then also I have been watching like YouTube videos of like violin basics in the bathtub when I'm in there, my little soaking session. And I've been watching videos about it. And 2 days ago, I got I'm gonna save that. I'm gonna save that really quick. I'm gonna put a pin in that for violin. And I'm gonna go to this one. So another thing I've always wanted to do when I was little was be on Broadway. right? I wanted to be on Broadway. I also want to do like background vocals for people. Like I really want to use my voice, and I want to move, and I want to perform. Like I've always wanted that. I used to be in the bathroom when I was little, and I would put in my boombox. It was an electric blue boombox, and I would put it on Christina Aguilera's Dirty album, Eden's Crush, and a few other ones. And I would sing and dance in the mirror. My parents would leave me in there for hours, and I'm assuming that they just knew that I was fine because they would like see my feet underneath the door. And I would just be in there, and I would just be living my best life. And so I was like, well, what if I integrated that back in? You know, like what if I started preparing for Broadway and started preparing for these vocals now? So that way later on, I'll be ready when the dream is ready for me. And so I was like, all right, I'm gonna walk more, and I'm gonna sing, you know, at least 4 to 5 songs a day so I can really start to continue to condition my voice. And so that's, you know, kind of been my thing, is like, I'm gonna build up my endurance, I'm gonna build up my stamina so that when my dreams are ready for me, I'm ready for them too. Oh my God, I forgot to take allergy medicine. I already did before I left the house this morning, but my brain's like, oh, you forgot the last 2 days? That sucks. So yeah, so always wanted to do that. And so I'm really tapping back into that. And something that I do want to pause for is something that changed and shifted my life, was the idea of when I didn't know what I wanted to do in my life, the thing that I went back to is, well, what did I want to do when I was little? What did I want to do when I was a kid? Because that shit got me excited to see what was next. When I stopped disconnecting from what my inner child wanted, and I tried to do the corporate life, I tried to, you know, I tried to do these things, tried to appease people. I tried to do my hair certain ways. I tried to, you know, be the things that I was told I should be. But my inner child was this gender neutral tomboy who loved deep, dark colors and and wanted to rebel against anything that would have seen me as feminine and all of these things, right? And I like love my little motorcycle that my dad got me. Like I was a heathen waiting to emerge. And somewhere along the line, because of those moments like the time on the bus of being told that violin is hard, I decided not to live my life in the way that I could have in order to really be happy. And so that is now my advice for anyone feeling lost about anything, is what did you want to do when you were little? And how can you prepare for those dreams to come true now? I know. But that means I'm gonna have to go back into my childhood. Yes. And the kid in you is gonna be so fucking happy that they are going to give you the energy that you need to push through against anything. Because there is no one spicier than 7-year-old Joe. There is no one, no other age that's gonna be like, let's fucking do that. Oh, that looks fun. Let's do that. Yeah. Your inner child will give you the energy that you need to push through the hardest times. But if you ignore them, they will feel quieted and not want to articulate what they're feeling. And that leaves you with no energy. So, all this being said, 2 days ago, spice up your life. If you know, you know. So 2 days ago, I reached out to my friend who works on violins. And I said, hey, do you know anyone who you would recommend as a violin teacher? And maybe do you know anyone who would accept me as a student even though I don't have a violin? And she responded with, I have the perfect teacher. I have the perfect teacher, but you're gonna need your own violin. Don't worry about that part. I have extra violins that were donated that I can spruce up for you for your lessons. Y'all, I fucking screamed. I screamed. You know, in Moana, when Hey realizes that he's out on the ocean and he like does that like that, that's what I sounded like. I was so excited because I was like, yes, I have been working towards this, and I tried. Don't get me wrong. I tried to find a violin teacher on my own. I was like, I can figure this out. I can do this on my own. I can figure this out. And everything I was coming into, I was just like roadblock. It just wasn't making sense. And so it's when I had to reach out to this acquaintance even that I met at the dance studio. And, you know, along the lines, we've started to become friends, but I was just like, wow. It was just that one meeting, you know, that it took for me to be able to get my dreams. And she sent me a text message about it yesterday and was like, here's a photo of the inside of your new violin, and like told me the origin story and all this stuff. And I was like, wow, that's amazing. And also, a few days ago, I interviewed for a position for a pet resort assistant manager. And I loved the company. I loved how much they supported their employees. It's a mom and pop place. And I'm huge. I'm a fanatic for local businesses, and they're local. They genuinely care. You can tell when employers care about their employees by their benefits. If they kind of give you the regular schmegular, these are your regular benefits, that's fine. But you know, when people really have some creativity in it, that's when it's able to be like, okay, you care, you actually care. So I loved them. I loved what they stood for. I loved that they were able to support a lot of blue collar workers because the location is a very blue collar area. And it just felt so aligned. And the only thing I was worried about was it's an early start time. And they were like, you're gonna clock at least 5 miles a day. You're gonna get your daily steps in regardless. And I was like, oh, okay. And then I thought back to my dreams. And I said, I wanted stamina for violin. I want stamina and endurance for Broadway. And they wake up early as fuck some days. And I was like, okay, I think this is it. I think this is what is going to prepare me for those next steps. Because again, am I on Broadway right now? No. Am I in local theater right now? No. But am I getting ready? Yes, I is. And yesterday they called me and they're like, we want to offer you the job. The pay is great. Again, I've been looking for jobs for 9 to 10 months now. And I just knew that like there was something better for me. There is something that is in alignment with what I need. And since it's a pet resort, I can take my dog with me. They were like, we would love to have your dog, you know, and she's gonna get so much exercise, which is gonna be amazing. And I'm just elated. And also, if anyone knows, put me on. I'm looking for joint support for dogs that is natural. Don't just say turmeric. I want a company. I want a local small business company. Y'all know what I like. I want a local small business company that does things with all natural ingredients for the dogs. So for my baby to have some good joint health. It's for when we go and do this next adventure. And now being able to have this community, I have a new community. You know, I have new responsibilities of being an assistant manager. I love being able to mentor people. I love customer service. I love these things. This is going to prepare me for this next step of my life. And I feel so grateful. Because I was so scared of what would be of my life if I left everything. If I left an amazing partner, if I left my home that I had built, and by that I mean my apartment that I had painted a wall on. My best friend left. All of that. What would happen? And the universe said, you let go and you had hope. And it was dark a lot of days. A lot of the time, I was even asking, what the fuck is the point? Because life is really hard. And it always feels like this. And if it always feels like this, why? What am I doing here? And I just kept trying to find things to look forward to. And now, because I put in that work, now I'm here and I'm explaining my situation. And one day I'm gonna look back even further. I'm gonna look back at this video and be like, damn, that was my first YouTube video I ever posted. And look at where I was and how much hope I had for the future. And maybe I'll look back on it once I do get to Broadway. And I'll say, thank you for preparing what you wanted. So now, what's next? I'm gonna work this job. I'm gonna work this job. I'm gonna keep dancing. I'm gonna keep singing. I'm gonna keep trying to do and listen to the things that my inner child wanted to do. And I'm gonna love more. I'm gonna talk to more of my friends. I'm gonna respond to more messages to let people know that I am here and that I do want genuine connections with people. I do want a community that feels connected to me. I do want to create more to help us get out of this cycle of oppression. And art is that for me. And secret, art is that for a lot of us. You know, if you feel like you're like, everything is going wrong, politics suck. Oh, they suck. People are taking human rights away. Put that shit, create that shit, turn it into something new. Alchemize, okay? Use that energy to get you set up for the life that you actually want to be living. Whether that's in America or someone else or somewhere else, do it. I can't say your experience will be the same as mine because again, different stars align. But don't give up. Just don't. I mean, if you do want to, can't judge you, but this life could be nice. It could be, but you ain't gonna know if you don't find out. And then you're gonna be like boo boo the fool, being like, dang it, I had that coming up in a month. What? There was a Comic-Con coming to my city. Anything. What? I could have bumped into Hillary Duff at the grocery store if I just would have stayed a little longer. Hillary Duff. I don't know why. That was the first person that came to my mind. But yeah, keep going. Let life surprise you. And maybe when I am having a rough day, I'll come back to this video and I'll be like, just let life surprise you. So that's it. I think I got all my notes. Till the next time. Wish me luck in my life. Bye. As I wish you so much luck in yours. I hope this all found the right people. I'm so proud of myself, and I hope you do something that makes you proud of you, and go live your favorite life. Not the best. Fuck the best. We don't need the best. The best means that like something, like nothing else is coming. No. Your favorite life. Go live your favorite life, because you can just create more favorite. Okay? Thanks. Bye.